Let me share the story of the night Bad Bunny arrived in Buenos Aires and sent the entire nation into a frenzy. It wasn't due to the dazzling lights or the enormous crowd, which was already large enough to engulf a small country. No, it was all about 3 words. Just 3 simple words that he changed in the middle of a song, and those words somehow sparked a reaction from 70,000 Argentines as if they had just celebrated another World Cup victory. But before we dive into that, it's important to grasp the significance of Bad Bunny being in Argentina in the first place. He didn't just come with a guitar and a playlist, he arrived as the biggest star in music at the moment, right after one of the most talked about events in pop culture history, the Super Bowl halftime show. A quick pause. Welcome to Inside the Heist. If you're enjoying this video, please subscribe as that will help us on our long way to YouTube monetization. Now, back to the video. A Puerto Rican reggaeton artist standing center stage at the Super Bowl, commanding an audience of over 100 million people. That was a statement. That was history. And when the dust settled from that performance, he did not sit back and enjoy the moment. He kept moving. He rolled straight into his Debí Tirar Más Fotos World Tour, a global run that had already torn through North America, city by city, arena by arena. Sold out, sold out, sold out. Every stop. By the time he got to Argentina, people already knew what they were in for. Except they did not. Not really. Because what happened those nights in Buenos Aires, nobody saw that coming. 3 sold-out shows at the Estadio Monumental in Buenos Aires. Think about that for a second. The Estadio Monumental is not just any venue. That place holds over 80,000 people, and it is home to River Plate, one of the most iconic football clubs in all of South America. This stadium has seen legends. It has seen battles. It breathes football like it is religion. And for 3 consecutive nights, it breathed Bad Bunny. Benito Antonio had taken over one of the most sacred sporting temples in Argentina, and the people were not just okay with it. They were ecstatic. They lined up for hours. They painted their faces. They memorized every lyric in Spanish, in Spanglish, in whatever language love for music comes in. And then the lights went down and the party started. Now, here is the thing about Bad Bunny that most people outside his fan base do not fully understand. This guy pays attention. He does his homework. He is not the kind of artist that lands in a new country and treats it like just another stop on the map. He reads the room. He feels the culture. He understands what a city has in its chest. And Buenos Aires? Buenos Aires has football in its chest. Football and pride and passion, and one name above all others that makes people here go absolutely silent before they erupt into the loudest noise you have ever heard in your life. Messi. Lionel Messi. The man, the legend, the GOAT. In Argentina, you do not just say that name, you feel it. And Bad Bunny knew exactly what he was holding when he decided to use it. At concerts today, artists make these little local nods to wherever they are performing. A shout-out here, a jersey there, maybe a local food reference that gets the crowd going for a second before the next song hits. Most of the time, it's cute, it's appreciated. People clap and move on. But what Bad Bunny did was not a cute little nod. It was a surgical strike aimed directly at the heart of Argentine identity, and he pulled it off with the kind of precision that made it feel like he had been planning it the whole tour. It started with the music itself. In the middle of his set, he went somewhere completely unexpected. He launched into a version of De Música Ligera, a legendary track by Soda Stereo, one of the most beloved rock bands in the history of Latin music. In Argentina, Soda Stereo is practically sacred. Gustavo Cerati, the band's frontman who passed away in 2014, is worshipped like a musical god in this country. Playing anything from Soda Stereo in Buenos Aires is like showing up to Rome and starting to sing a hymn in perfect Latin. The crowd knew every word. They sang it back at him with everything they had. The energy in that stadium at that moment was already at a level that most concerts never reach. And then he flipped it. He hit them with a salsa version of the song, this beautiful, rhythmic, unexpected twist that showed just how deep his musical range really goes. The crowd went from reverent to electric, from church to carnival in about 4 seconds. But that was just the setup. The real moment was still coming. Then he went into Otra Noche in Miami, one of his biggest hits, one of those songs that everyone in that stadium could sing in their sleep. The track rolls along easy and smooth, and then comes that one line. The line that in the original version of the song says, "Soy Cristiano después de meter un gol," meaning I'm Cristiano after scoring a goal, a reference to Cristiano Ronaldo, the Portuguese superstar, one of the greatest footballers of all time, and in any other country on earth, a name that brings nothing but admiration. But Argentina is not any other country on earth. In Argentina, the conversation between Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi is not just a sports debate, it's a matter of identity. It's tribal. It's everything. And the entire crowd knew what that line was supposed to say. They'd heard it 1,000 times. They were ready to sing it back automatically, muscle memory kicking in, mouths opening to follow the familiar words. And then Bad Bunny changed it. Soy Messi después de meter un gol. I am Messi after scoring a goal. The stadium didn't just react, it detonated. 70,000 people who were already wound up to maximum tension suddenly had nowhere to put all that feeling except to scream it out into the Buenos Aires night. People were grabbing each other, people were jumping, people were crying actual tears because he had given them something unexpected, something personal, something that said, I see you, I know who you are, I know what you love, and tonight I'm celebrating that with you. In a city that bleeds football and has spent the last 2 years still riding the high of the 2022 World Cup victory, hearing that name in that moment felt like confirmation. It felt like the rest of the world finally agreed on something they had always known. Messi is the one. But Benito wasn't done, because if you think swapping a lyric was the whole move, you underestimate this man completely. He walked out on that stage wearing the albiceleste, the white and sky blue of the Argentine national team. But it wasn't the number 10 that Messi wears today, it was the number 19. And that detail right there is what separated this from a simple fan moment and turned it into something that showed genuine knowledge and genuine respect. See, when Messi first joined the Argentine national team as a teenager, he couldn't wear the number 10. That number belonged to Juan Román Riquelme, an Argentine icon, a playmaker so beloved in Argentina that his name alone makes people stop and talk about for hours. So young Messi wore the number 19 to start his international career, biding his time, building his legend in silence, before eventually claiming the number 10 as his own. Bad Bunny showing up in that number 19 jersey was not an accident. It was a message that said, I did my research, I know your history, I know your story from the beginning, not just from the trophies. And in a country that takes its football history as seriously as its own family history, that meant everything. People in the crowd who caught that detail lost it in a completely different way. This was not just a celebrity doing something cool. This was an artist who understood, who actually sat down, learned the story, and honored it in front of 80,000 people. That kind of thing doesn't happen every day. That kind of thing gets talked about for years. Now, while all of this was happening on stage in Buenos Aires, the man himself, Lionel Messi, was not exactly having the smoothest stretch of his own career. Back in Miami, where he plays for Inter Miami in Major League Soccer, the Argentine captain was dealing with an injury that had been causing real concern among his fans. During a warm-up session with his club, Messi suffered a hamstring strain in his left leg. Not the worst injury in the world for a young player, but Messi is no longer the teenager who wore number 19. He's pushing into his late 30s now, the age where every muscle pull gets analyzed, every recovery timeline gets scrutinized, every training session becomes news. And this particular injury came at a sensitive moment. Inter Miami had a friendly match scheduled in Puerto Rico, a game that the island had been building up for weeks. Because, of course, if you're going to bring a football match to Puerto Rico, you make sure Messi is playing. The man is the reason people buy tickets. He's the reason families clear their schedules. He's the reason little kids in cities that have never had a football team of their own suddenly want to lace up boots and kick a ball around. The Puerto Rico match had to be postponed for several days just to give Messi enough time to recover and make an appearance that the organizers, the fans, and frankly the economics of the whole event depended on. Without Messi, the game is just a game. With Messi, it becomes an event. It becomes a memory. That's the weight this man carries everywhere he goes, even when he's limping a little. And somehow, the timing of all this made Bad Bunny's moment in Buenos Aires feel even bigger. Because while Messi was sidelined and recovering, while people were checking injury reports and worrying about his hamstring, here was this Puerto Rican artist on the other side of South America, standing in one of the most iconic football stadiums in the world, wearing Messi's original jersey number and singing his name to the sky like a declaration. It was the kind of thing that travels fast on the internet. Within hours of the concert, videos of that lyric change were everywhere. People were reposting it from Argentina, from Puerto Rico, from Spain, from Japan. Comments in 20 different languages all saying some version of the same thing. This was beautiful. This was real. This man gets it. Bad Bunny has always been the kind of artist who understands that music is not just about the notes. It is about the moment. It is about the feeling you create in a specific room on a specific night for a specific group of people who needed to feel seen. He did that in Buenos Aires 3 times over. 3 sold-out shows, 3 nights where a city that already has one of the richest cultural identities in the world got to feel like someone from the outside looked in and said, "Yeah, I understand why you are proud." And the Messi moment was the peak of it. The intersection of 2 different worlds, reggaeton and football, Puerto Rico and Argentina, Benito and Lionel, brought together in a single swapped word at the exact right second in the exact right place. The story is still spreading. People who were not even there feel like they witnessed it because the energy coming off those videos is undeniable. Clips of that lyric change have been shared millions of times across social media, with reactions pouring in from football fans, reggaeton fans, and people who are both and cannot believe this crossover actually happened in real life. Argentine sports journalists were writing about it the next morning. Football accounts that never cover concerts were posting the video. Music blogs that never touch football were talking about Bad Bunny's jersey. The moment escaped every lane it was supposed to stay in and just became a thing that the whole world was experiencing together at the same time. That is the rarest kind of moment in entertainment, when something happens that is so specific and so local and so culturally rooted that it should only matter to the people in the room, but it is executed with such genuine feeling that it travels across every border and every language barrier and lands just as hard for someone watching on their phone in London as it did for the person standing in the front row in Buenos Aires screaming their lungs out. Bad Bunny has made a career out of those moments. He has always understood that the more specific and authentic you are, the more universal the reaction becomes. And this was him at the very top of that skill. And somewhere in Miami, recovering and resting and probably watching his phone light up with messages from people sending him the clips, Lionel Messi knows. He knows that on a warm Buenos Aires night, inside a stadium that holds the memory of legends, someone stood up in front of tens of thousands of his own people and said his name like it was the most natural thing in the world. Not as a comparison, not as a debate, just as a statement of fact. Because in Argentina, that is exactly what it is. And for one perfect night, thanks to a Puerto Rican kid who paid attention, the rest of the world heard it too and felt exactly the same way. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this situation, so please share your opinions in the comments. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay updated on this story.